And I think, what I wanted to convey was basically where I'm in this. Like I've had people like, they think I'm like like on Jake's level. I'm not on Jake's level by any means. I'm just an incidental witness to something that was so crazy that I had no explanation of what I saw exactly. What was it, right? So Jake being able to clarify what it was, what the intention of it was, made a little bit of sense, and then being sort of included, and that's the only word I'm going to use, is I think refreshing, because then I get to take it from a perspective of somebody who's not even a part of the program, but all of a sudden I get to have a front row seat to certain things, to be able to provide to the public what's really going on and how these guys are, what they're thinking, what they want, what their goals are. I think is very important. So that's what I'm thankful for.
Do you anticipate him coming on to the spaces to chat with us folks over here? I would love to speak to him based on some of my professional and technical background, um, just to maybe understand things in a different perspective from him, for sure.
It might be possible, but I know with what they're doing is very busy and demanding. And on top of the other interviews he's done, I know he's done others. I can't say which ones. There's some that I don't know, but I would anticipate it probably in the near future that there's probably going to be some questions and some things that need to be resolved. So I wouldn't rule it out, but at the same time, it's going to be very hard to predict that.
Awesome.
I have
Thanks,
a
Steve.
question for you. I have a question for you. You said last night, Interstellar brought this up, that you what you learned on the field like brought you such a shock that it took a week for you to like really absorb it and filter it. And what was it about what you saw that would shock someone like you?
Well, it's not necessarily what I saw, but it's what I learned, and that was the fact that humans were involved. Now, in my initial speculation, such as drugs being the thing that I speculated that were being moved in these containers, that's what I officially told Arrow and a bunch of Senate Intel and Senate Armed Services and whatnot, which that wasn't the case. And my initial reaction was like, oh my God, they're trafficking people. So when Greer was told that, this is what he listed it as, was human trafficking. Listening now, having conversations with Jake, talking to people who are P3s, it's not the case at all. Now, in a sense, is it illegal? Yeah. There's some gray area. And that's kind of the problem, is like, where's the legality in this? But, rest assured that these people are taken care of. They're very well taken care of. And in some instances, they're taken care of better than a lot of people here in this country, United States. So it's that's kind of where my mind was like, oh, it's the negative aspect of human trafficking. And that was like, okay, well, then I felt bad, because us as military, we have the obligation to basically try to help people. That's why we sign up, because we want to help, and we want to serve and protect and do the things that are hard, so that way everybody can live in a free country and try to contribute to history in a positive sense. Well, when we're sitting there with our weapons taken away from us, it was out of our control at that point. So it kind of felt guilty, like these people are moving, they're taking people against their will. So that made me feel really bad. And I felt helpless in that sense. It's like, oh God, this could have been stopped if there was more of us, or that situation. But obviously it wasn't. It was just there was 6 of us. There was 8 of them, at least that we encountered. I mean, there's more obviously that were driving the trucks and all that kind of stuff. So I could estimate it was probably a platoon size element of operators that were doing that operation. So we're outgunned, we're outnumbered, we're out. Tactically we're outdone, because these are special operators, at least former tier 1, some of them. So yeah, that was kind of why it was a little hard.
Okay, thank you. Interstellar.
Is
Oh, go
Jake?
ahead, Sarah.
Oh, so sorry. I didn't know. Is Jay? It says listener for me, but is he speaker?
No, he's speaker.
I'm
Oh,
a speaker.
hey, how are you this day?
I'm good. I'm all ready to go. I'm ready to go here, get picked up in about 30 minutes. But yeah, big day for me. Big day for disclosure, hopefully. Um, we're looking forward to it. But anyway, I'll be on Joe Rogan here probably by the end of the week. You guys will see it. Um, so looking forward to it. How you guys doing?
Kill it, Jay. Kill it. If you guys didn't hear, he's
I'm
going on.
trying.
He's about to go on Rogan.
Yeah.
And remember that Rogan. This is just my one piece of advice. Rogan likes to hang out and talk about this stuff. He's like a kid in a candy shop. Relax. You're going to do great. And also, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, I think I'll be
I love
okay.
this, Jason. I can't wait to hear this. It's amazing.
Yeah, I just hope he doesn't do a ayahuasca on me. I don't want to be stoned while I'm doing this interview. But anyway, no, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, Joe grew up in the streets of New Jersey and look where he's at today. And just totally respect him for that. But getting to meet the man himself today is a big day for me and all you guys too, because you guys have helped continue the disclosure, and that's why he's talking to me. So I'm really looking forward to the whole thing. But I've got all my paperwork here, so we can go over that. I got a buddy of mine, as I was telling some folks last night, that he's been there since actually before David Grush interviewed me. He was part of the film, from the James Fox film, The Program, as well. And he'll be there to tell his part of the story about how we met and everything else. So he'll hopefully give you guys some more details and background about the whole journey that we've been on over the past few years. And Logan can actually fill you in on a lot more. He was there, geez, probably since the infancy of like To the Stars Academy and stuff like that. So he's got a lot of knowledge too. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what he says, and then you guys will get to see it at the end of the week. So that'll be really good. So I heard you guys were talking about Herrera and some of the stuff with Jake.
Yes.
And
Michael
yeah,
Herrera has joined us again this morning, and Joey joined us earlier. And I honestly, I'm going to reiterate this, Michael. I'm so grateful for Joey on a level that I think helps me, and maybe most. He helped me connect dots and just be like, I am not skeptical. This works. These story beats and points work. And so, yeah. So, Jason, we're sitting here. Sorry, my first cup of coffee is now kicking in.
yeah, I had to get three. Hey, how's it going, Mike? Good to see you
Good,
in the
man. How are
space.
you? I'm up to four cups of coffee. I take this stuff called Death Wish. So
Oh my
there's
God.
days where I'm dragging. I go in the office, so it's the thing with, owning several companies. It's like, yeah, I sleep probably 3-4 hours a night, and then it's just like, okay, back to the grind, back to this, back to that. Sometimes I don't
Mm-hmm.
get holidays off, and so I was just trying to make everything work. But yeah, coffee I can understand. So, but
Mm-hmm.
Jason, it's good to talk to you finally. I know we had to send a message through X here recently, but it's good to actually talk to you.
Yeah, it is. It's very good to talk to you. I'm glad that you were still in the space when I popped in. Um, really love your story. I believe every minute, every second of it that you tell it like you were right there. I don't see why anybody would have a problem with that other than their own imagination getting in the way. And I just want to let you know that I'm with you. I'm 100% backing you. And I'm really hoping that you, me, and the rest of the whistleblowers can push this way, way, way far down the road this year. Because I think the plan disclosure is too slow for the public to really feel like there's been some action in the background. So I'm really happy to know that you're there, and to be part of the crowd is really an awesome thing to see you here.
I appreciate that, and my goal is I'm sitting where you're at too. It's going to take all of us. When I realized, I didn't think that my testimony would ever do anything. I thought I was just going to do the press club. I was going to get a lot of flack. I would get some supporters, and Sean Ryan came about when I met him there, and we did that episode. And I just thought that was going to be it. I didn't understand that it was going to actually connect the dots. And I know with your story, yours, you connect the dots in a lot of things for other people to realize what goes on. And so I think every single one of us as whistleblowers, we have a piece of the story that is shared that can provide either closure or acceptance or things that'll definitely help people understand that there's more to the puzzle than just you and I. And now that
There is.
Jake came forward, he's in a sense of providing his own uh, outlook on what he's been exposed to for the last 30 years. And that guy's an incredible guy. I like that guy personally. I consider him a brother. We're
Mhm.
very close in regards, and same with the other guys that were with him.
Yep.
And we're all in the same boat. We want this to come out, and we want it to be the topic of conversation for everybody to realize that when this is exposed and it's out, our world changes, and we get to help better the world. That's what we get to do as whistleblowers.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's exactly where I think we could head with all of this. And then we let the people decide what path we're going to take. And I think I'm mainly seeing two groups, but hopefully we'll get as many people on board and have a better, I guess, pathway. I think that's what this is really all about. Also, Mike, is just that this is bigger than any other thing that could possibly happen. That if we finally do get to the point where that what you and I have seen as reality is actually part of our lives at that point, it's going to change the paradigm big time. But at the same time, it's a good paradigm for the most part. But it also comes with some packaged bad pieces as well that have to be dealt with. And I think that's where the planned disclosure folks are really going to come in handy, because they're the ones who are familiar with developing the policies and getting things declassified that need to be disclassified and all that good stuff. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us. I think if we do a good job this year, having you, Jake, um, me, and other folks, that'd be really awesome to see that and get to the point where we can actually get to the next step. And that would make me happy.
Well, and that was the thing that I was kind of flattered about, was like they wanted my opinion on certain legislation at some point. And I was like, look, that's your guys' job. You guys are the lawmakers. You guys are the people that, you find out what helps us keep us safe and put regulations in that help with that in mind. And I don't know anything about making laws. I'm not a lawmaker. I've been tempted to run for Congress or Senate and try to be kind of the forefront for as a whistleblower to get other whistleblowers and basically just try to hammer this. And I understand that what I'm up against at that point, I wouldn't be the uniparty. I'd be the guy that I'm a constitutionalist. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I believe in the Constitution, and that is what I find sacred, and I support that. And I think that with what these programs are doing is concealing and using things that are outside the Constitution to basically do what they want. And yes, there's some nefarious stuff that happens. I'm very sure of that. And I think everybody in the programs can agree, which is why there's been this push to make it legal and have oversight, because there are things that Jake and his group are fed up with. And if there's better oversight conducted, then guess what that means? Everybody wins.
Yep.
Jason, I noticed that you haven't gotten your millions of dollars from coming forward, just like I haven't. you know and that's the reality, that people think that's what's going to happen if you come forward, and it's not the case. You get the
No.
opposite treatment, guys. We get ridiculed. We get everybody telling us what they think as
Mm-hmm.
keyboard warriors. They think that they understand what we're grasping, or like what we experience. They think they understand that, and it's like, no, you guys don't know what you're talking about. I didn't even
Mm-hmm.
know what I was talking about even when I came forward, because, like I said, I'm an incidental witness. I wasn't read up in any programs. I just
Mm-hmm.
happened to see something crazy, and my interpretation as it sees fit was based off of what I understand. But even then, I was wrong,
Yeah.
and that's why I got corrected. So I'm glad I was wrong to an extent, to be able to provide the public, no, this is what's going on. And
Mm-hmm.
now that it's more than a year later, everybody understands that what I was talking about was true,
Yes.
thanks to Jake coming forward with all these other people. And one of the things that he said was like, well, Mike, what you described is too specific. And it's too specific to the point to where this is how we know it's real, because this is what we've done in the programs, and what you've talked about is legitimate. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's refreshing to an extent, but still very hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, it is. That was the same thing with me, because they look when I was on the House and the Senate side, they looked in shock. They didn't even know the program name I mentioned to them. They had to go research that. Then they finally found out that it was legit. And then they started really exploring some of the other stuff I said. So I did contribute a little bit, but just like you, very, very surprised to see how this is developing. Just like you last year, I was, brand new to all of this. And I've learned so much. And even last night, having dinner with another person who's very much like you and a first-hand person. And he told me some stuff that really started, putting some more puzzle pieces together. And I'll be happy if he decides he wants to come forward as a whistleblower, because there's people now, just as you know, when you go public, some of these other folks, they're like, hey, I trust you. You came forward at great risk, Here's my story. I'm not sure if I want to be a whistleblower, but at least they confide in you. So I've seen a lot of that, and I think maybe you've had some contact as well. So that's kind of how it's happening right now, and it's just a matter of time, I think, before they, I guess, are emboldened enough and they're ready to tell their story. And that's what I'm really hoping to show this, going on Joe Rogan today. That's one of the things I'm going to advocate as well. So, but the other thing, like you said, the money piece of it, yeah, the kind of protection that you and I need, and others have needed, that costs money, and I just don't have that. Unless somebody like in government or a lawyer just wants to do it out of their own good free will, So that's something that we all, as a community, need to come together and realize this is too big for just you and just me. We just don't have the funds to make, help another whistleblower through this process who may be losing their job and need to be transitioned and given protections and stuff like that. The protections can be given by Congress and NDAA, but who can put their life back together is my point. And that's going to take some effort and some care, and that can only come from, I think, the people.
You hit the nail on the head with that too, because I've had people ask me, well, why is it that it's easy for you to come forward but not the other guys that you were with? Well, my other guys are employees of different companies, and some of them are still in the military. And if they were to be publicly known for this, they're going to get chastised out of whatever groups they're in. It's gonna be hell for them. And so one of them, he's like, he asked me questions like how, I was like, well, you see it. I said, you've seen guys that we served with that tried to publicly shame me, even though they weren't there. And it's fine for them to do that. I don't care. It doesn't bother me that somebody's uneducated opinion of somebody that I once, they don't even really know who each other is. You know them as a Marine, as this person with this rank, and that's it. They don't really have an effect on my life in a personal way. So again, I don't put much weight into it. But I know that if my other guys were to sit there and come forward, that they're probably going to get looked at on their jobs as being wacko. Their families are probably going to look at them weird. And it's something that's not going to sit with them very well. So yes, it's great that other people in different aspects of experience, whether they worked in it, whether there was incidental, yeah, it's great they want to come forward, but I tell them, come forward at great risk. And if you do, this is the reality of it. And I think you need to reconsider unless you actually have the mental fortitude to survive it. Because I look at the negative stuff as a rite of passage. That's just how I see it. And like Randy Anderson, for example, is a good friend of mine. Very good guy, very humble. And, he was linked to me through some Senate Intel members to basically be put in a support group with myself. And I talked to him. I got him up to speed. I'm like, look, man, I mean, I don't know what you experienced, but this is what I experienced. This is what I was able to talk to through it. This is the person that I was able to link up and try to get some movement on it. And, so we basically, leaned on each other in ways to basically understand what we're dealing with, what we're up against, and what we can do to mitigate the pressures that are unnecessary through public influence, or whether it's something that through the government aspect as well. So when Randy came forward, I had no idea that he was actually going to be on Jesse Michaels. He didn't, and this is the thing with us, as well as I do, Jason, that we don't really tell each other everything because it's something that we have to be within ourselves to do the things in order so that way, one, it's not intercepted, and that two, Nobody can use that as a means against what we're trying to do, because that
Yep.
does happen. That happens all the time. You've experienced it. I've experienced it.
Yeah.
It's something that's never going to change. But how do we change it, and what do we do?
Yeah. That's exactly right. You've got to be careful. We've got to use good offset. We don't have to know everything about each other's lives, but when we can come together like we're doing today, I think that's a big deal, especially for the community. So I really live for the X spaces and the freedom of speech that we have here to be able to do this. So I'm very appreciative of all those things, and that you're willing to talk. I'm doing my part. Just it looks like Jake is going to do his, Randy, everybody. It's just beautiful to see all this kind of evolving. I didn't expect any of this month. All I knew was something big was going to happen, and then about a week out, I found out there were some whistleblowers coming forward. So wow, it's just phenomenal. So I'm hopeful. I don't know about you, but I am. So what do you
Oh
feel
man,
about it?
I'm hopeful too, and I'm ready to put on some blue face paint like William Wallace, and line up with everybody and charge this thing head on. So and I think that's what's needed. I think and I'm thankful at least that I was able to motivate Jake and his guys to want to do the same thing as well, because originally they were not going to come forward at all, and they were just going to relay information to me. And now that I don't feel like I'm on my own anymore, it's refreshing. But at the same time, I get people to ask me a lot of questions, and what I tell them is like, well, you're going to have to stand by and let Jake answer that, because what I am disclosing is what he was able to share with me and tell me. So he is going to be more of the valuable person to talk about what's coming forward, and the programs more specifically compared to me, which I was just an incidental person. So it's not like I have I'm not like Grush, for example, where he had knowledge of certain things, and Grush is a hell of a guy. I like him. I've spoken with him several times, and he is somebody who's taken a lot of flack for everybody too. And because of what I've had people that were like, oh well, he didn't do anything because Congress they didn't do this or this. I said, actually, no. Behind the scenes, he made things easier for me, you and I, Jason, which is great. I know you know that. And we're going to do the same thing for whistleblowers coming forward down the future. We need to make their lives easier. And that's what I'm about. I don't care if it costs me
Yes.
money personally to fly and have meetings, because
Mhm.
it's all going to contribute at some point to allow us to be better and allow us to break this wide open, as we can stand toe to toe together and just basically say, hey, we got a
Amen.
problem here. This is what's going on. How do we fix it? What can we do to help? So
Yep. That's exactly how I feel about it. So well met, brother. I got to get ready to go. Got my compadre here, Mr. Logan. So gonna talk to him a little bit, prep up for the interview. And great talking to you, Mike. Great talking to everybody else here. Good to see all my friends here on X. And I just thank you guys so much. I can't explain how many times I felt like just giving up, but you guys, brought me back up and showed me that this is a worthy thing to do. And I really appreciate how you guys have supported us, but we're still not at the end of the road. We still got other
nope.
whistleblowers that need to get pulled out of this mess.
Yep.
So we'll work ahead, but you guys are just phenomenal being supportive.
Well,
Can,
Jason, give
can
them
I,
hell, man, and do a good thing. And I know you'll do well. Give them hell, man, and I got your back 100%, man. And if you need anything, you got my phone number through Signal. Just reach out, and we can talk more in depth privately. And as for everybody else, thank you for your support too. And I'm new to this whole social media thing with X. I'm not really on it a whole lot, but if you guys have any questions, I mean, just keep them. I'll be visiting the spaces. UFO Sarah's got my. She's in my inbox, so if there's anything that you have to pass on, just let me know. Same thing with you, Jason, and I'll try to answer questions the best of my ability. But I got to run. I got a couple meetings to attend to, but it's nice talking to you all, and take care.
Let me say
Yep.
before
Take
you let
care.
me say before you leave, ask Sarah what are good spaces to go into and what are not good spaces to go into.
Oh yeah, geez, yeah, that's big.
Send me a list, please.
Yeah,
That'll be
yeah, we'll do
easiest.
it. We'll do it. We'll do it, Mike.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Catch y'all later.